Meigs' thunder did not stop. She gathered her strength and collapsed to the place where Gideon had fallen. However, because she was very exhausted, what she did was a loss. They say the swelling from the disease is a good sign of recovery. She started to walk around with all the students, saying she had honor. Those who were far away began to gather together. Without saying a word, Meigs did not give up. At that time, she did not give in to her pain but said, "I have it, you," and began to shake and tremble inside. How can a person betray me while I do good to them? How can a person hurt me while I do good to them? They mocked me, laughed at me, and passed by silently without seeing or hearing. Whose heart do you have, except for empty words and insults? When a person leaves another, is it not disrespectful? Meigs was exhausted, holding her head and shoulders, and began to tremble uncontrollably. For a few moments, she did not stop shaking. Then, as her body relaxed, everyone was stunned. Meigs, however, did not have her eyes open. She blinked and began to watch over her awakening. After a few moments, Buhala Gideon's eyes opened and met Meigs' eyes. Meigs' eyes seemed to be closing, and her lips moved as if whispering. Gideon was sharp and alert, controlling his body despite the pain from the injury. Gideon slowly got up from his bed. His opinion was not that Meigs had done well, but rather that she was like an enemy. Then Tiwat went away, and after a short trip, Buhala stopped, thought, and returned. Meigs also got up from the ground. He looked at the ground and said #thank you. Then he left. Meigs was not happy, and her prayer was silent. Meigs became the news of the neighborhood. Since she was a good student, and also because of her, they say it is sad. But I do not think so. Is love. Gideon now will allow it. Except for the disease, what will Gideon do? What is there enough? He stood on one foot at the entrance. Meigs, who was separated from him, went to the dorm. Her friends had already entered before her. When she entered, Mehdi said, "What a miracle is this?" They began to tease her, saying, "Where do you know?" One of her friends, Burhan, continued. But for me, it is not that Mehdi is like this, it is her ignorance. Meigs said, "Oh, be sure, Gideon is not as bad as you think," and laughed at the dorm. Burhan continued, "One day, if you stay with her for a week, you will write history," and they began to argue. Burhan got up and said, "Let's have tea and coffee," and they agreed. Meigs told them she wanted to read, and they left her alone. However, she was happy to read, but she was lost in thought. After the meetings, Buhala Sada entered the room and greeted Meigs. Even if she was not at peace, Buhala did not see the joy on her face. Ejavan was wandering, and something new was found. All this was joy for her. Meigs also told Gideon what she had done. Sada was still shocked. "I heard that," Meigs said, "thank you," and when Sada said it, she laughed and fell. When you see this, you say, "Thank you," but it is not so. You are rude. She took her book and went out. Gideon was lying on his bed reading the book. The dorm students said they could not stand it because of him and Meigs. Gideon could not stay silent. They said, without hearing the breath, they left the dorm silently. To tell the truth, today's visitor was a burden to Gideon. He was looking at the book but not reading it. Since then, whenever Gideon fell, Meigs' presence became usual. But even today, besides thank you, she does not say another word. Even when he wakes and sees, his blood wants Meigs to talk. His silence increased her pain. One day, Kelatot was alone in the cafe, eating stew. Jonas, a boy, was nearby with stew. She said, "Sorry, my brother has a seat." She asked what problem he had. When he came, she stood up and said, "Okay," and took out her phone and started chatting. Then Mehdi said, "Where do you know?" Jonas laughed and said, "No one here knows you," she said. "If you don't know me, I will tell Jonas, but I want to be happy." "Yoni is mine," Meigs said quickly. "I think I know you well enough."